come to Cape Town that has now one of the world's 7 natural wonders, the Table Mountain, and I hope that you will enjoy the city as much as we are going to enjoy hosting you. It's a great honor for me to have been invited to this event, and quite ironic as well. And if I may be spared your indulgence for a little personal anecdote, sport taught me a lot. It taught me a great deal, but I never knew I was doing it at the time. Because I must say that I am completely incapacitated when it comes to playing any kind of sport at all. I put an enormous effort into it, but I dreaded every single sports fixture I ever had. It was compulsory at our school. But when I look back, it taught me how to deal with humiliation, as it did because I could never come near a hockey ball without standing on it. I could never get a tennis swing right. I could never run in a way that I would end up in the top 20, let alone the top 10. And it was a daily lesson in humility for me. It also taught me perseverance, because if I wanted to get a certain level of colours at school, I had to ensure that I also got sports colours. And that was the only incredible challenge to me. And I used to make my father drop me at school an hour early every day, because I thought maybe I'll make the tennis team. And I used to practice for an hour every day before school began, and I never even made the trials because they had a pre-out period. But looking back, I realized that what it taught me was perseverance, and really being able to battle at something that I wasn't good at, and then at some point accept that I wasn't good at it and get on with something else, which are very, very important lessons in life, and I think for all of us. But I'm speaking here to an audience who's learned many different kinds of things through sport. And I must say, not realizing at the time how much I'd learned, I put a line behind my sports career and said, thank goodness that's over. And I was very determined to ensure that my children didn't have to go through the same humiliation, because one always wants to protect one's children from what I'd had to go through. It turned out that I had 2 boys who loved sport and were very good at it. And I realized when they were teenagers just exactly how important sport is for so many issues of self-esteem, of affirmation, of peer group interaction, and of course always the best way to deal with testosterone dementia when they're 15 and 17. There's absolutely no better way to get them out on the rugby field or on the basketball court or whatever. And then I started to enjoy sport, because I felt that as a parent it was my responsibility to go and watch my children, and I agonized on the side every time a rugby scrum fell down on top of one of them or did anything like that. But I really saw exactly what sport could do for the confidence, for the affirmation, for the life skills, for the team spirit, for the ability to take pressure, for the ability to win gracefully and to lose gracefully. And I saw all of these incredible skills coming to the fore. But that was still only in a personal sense. And when I worked at the University of Cape Town and donors wanted to give us a lot of money to start a sports science institute, I was still skeptical. Why a sports science institute? We are the leading science university in Africa. We are the leading engineering university in Africa. We are the leading medical university in Africa, and now they want to bring a sports science institute here. And after they did, I realized what a massive difference it made to our institution, and what a huge asset it was, and how critical it has become in an integrated and total offering for the university, and how it has put us on the cutting edge of so many developments. And then, of course, when we had the Rugby World Cup in 1995, I'm sure you've all seen the incredible movie on that extremely important sports event, probably the most important sports event in the history of South Africa. The book was originally called Playing the Enemy, and the movie was called, I'm just trying to think of it again, Invictus. That got Vincent home. It showed you what a sports match could do and how it could unite a nation and give everybody a shared vision of what we could become. And so suddenly everyone in South Africa saw sport in a different way. And it became the focus of so much else in a way that when you talk about social change and inclusion and a new vision of nation building, no country will understand that as much as we understand it in South Africa. We understand that every time there is a great sports event in which our team represents us, it brings us together as nothing else can, and as nothing else has. And in fact, that 1995 World Cup, and then I think it was the 2007 World Cup again, or 8 World Cup again, it was an incredible experience for nation building. And so you've come to the right place to celebrate all the things that sport can be. Because in South Africa, we've had a transition that has not been precedented anywhere in the world. And when we look back, every single one of us would agree how crucial sport was in that process, and how it provided the glue that bound us at critical moments when the centre threatened not to hold. And so I have changed my perception entirely on sport and the role it plays, not only for people who happen to be incredibly gifted in that field, like all of you, or most of you, but also for everybody in a country who wants to find ways of developing a sense of belonging, of team spirit, of inclusion, and of social change. And then we got to the World Cup. Now, we have a complex constitution, 3 spheres of government, and very complex rules about intergovernmental relations. And there are lots of very difficult, bureaucratic, red tape type processes that you have to go through to achieve anything. And we've always used that as an excuse for failing to make progress on crucial infrastructure projects and many other things. And suddenly we had the World Cup, and we had to deliver. And FIFA told us when and where the whistle would blow for the start of the first match, and we had no option. We had to be ready. And that deadline and the international expectation on us forced us to come together and to work in a cooperative style, which has left a lasting legacy on the way we do things. Maureen Platsky, Dr. Platsky here, was the provincial representative of that, and she's brought all of that institutional memory into how we are developing many, many other major projects. The World Cup was a spectacular success. All of us from different political parties, from different spheres of government, put those differences aside, and even put a lot of red tape aside, which is even more of a miracle, to focus on getting an outcome in a specific time and showing the world, as I always say, that Africa can. We're a can-do continent, a can-do country, a can-do city, and it was sport that showed the world exactly what we could achieve. And the great legacy of the World Cup has lived with us. Because during the World Cup, we wanted to ensure that so many other people experienced the benefits. And so we started, together with FIFA and many other donors, Football for Hope, in which we ran many education projects, for example, projects on HIV and AIDS. There's Kicking for Peace. There's Stars in Your Eyes, which is a Dutch program which coaches the coaches, which is incredibly important when people are out there playing on various fields everywhere else. And I believe that you've been to the Gansbaai Space for Sport that Barclays sponsors. I still have to go there. I've heard a great deal about it. And it's these initiatives that really bring the benefits, and everything that I have tried to summarize in a brief overview of how the scales fell off my eyes brings that to a community in that kind of way. We still have a major problem in South Africa, because if our vision is to enable everybody who's gifted at sport to have an opportunity to change their lives through sport and to fulfill their potential so they can live a life they truly value, then we've got to be much better at identifying people early. And the big thing is that you can only identify people early when they have a chance to participate in sport and to be spotted. And our big problem in South Africa is that far too many schools have any sport program at all, and it's exceptionally difficult for many of the gifted children to get access to many sports clubs and then to be spotted and trained and built from the bottom up. But we do have exceptional role models in South Africa. And I'm really glad you'll be seeing two of them, Lucas Khalebe and Oscar Pistorius. I specifically love the story of Oscar Pistorius because only in South Africa, believe me, will you get a man without legs competing against able-bodied people in international sports events. And I think that that is absolutely magnificent. It's a symbol of who we are. And I think that the entire nation galvanizes behind people like Caster Semenya, like Oscar Pistorius, like Lucas Khalebe, who had a terrible, terrible tragedy in his life when his young wife died of cancer. And the dignity and the extraordinary role model he played as a husband and a parent in that process was crucial for very many young men to look up to and say, that is the model of fidelity and commitment that you display in the family. And so when sports stars do what one would take for granted from other lesser mortals, it is an exceptional influence on a society as a whole, and that's why I would like to pay tribute to you for choosing such excellent people to come and speak during the rest of your conference. In Cape Town, we would love to be much more integrated into your programs because we have learned exactly what sport can do. We have integrated sport now into many of our social programs. Our programs to try and ensure that teenagers don't get pregnant. Into our programs to keep people, and young people in particular, off drugs and drug abuse. Into our programs to ensure that they have something constructive to do and a square meal after school. And so we've started across the province, more than 100 mod centres, which give programs from 2 in the afternoon to 6, and into which sport and cultural activities are profoundly integrated. And we would love to have the partnership in which we can ensure that in all of those centres we offer enough sports codes to enable people with talent to be spotted early, to find a real passion in life, to do what they can do best and aim for the stars without having to self-medicate in diversionary programs because they're frustrated and angry and bored and on the streets. And we believe that sport will be able to help us transform the lives of many, many young children. In one of our schools recently, we tested the grade 9 pupils, and 50% of them came up positive for one form of drug or another. A huge crisis for us. And we believe that it's going to be absolutely crucial for us to give children an opportunity to do other things than hang around on the street corners and become prey to the ubiquitous drug peddlers that haunt our streets. And so, for social change, for inclusion, for health, for education, for the environment, for conflict resolution, we think that sport is unbeatable as a catalyst for social development. And so we'd very much like to be your partners. I understand that you want to form regional centres in various parts of the world, and I really do hope that you will consider Cape Town very, very seriously. Because whatever you want to do here, we will try and help you. Dr. Platsky's here with me today. She's very committed to sport because she's also seen what it can do. Ironically, she tells me that she was about as bad at it at school as I was. But you don't have to be good at it to understand its value. And so I would like to say that we are here at your service and at your disposal. We wish you a very, very good rest of your conference. We hope that your panel discussions are scintillating and inspirational. And we also do hope that our partnership will see sports stars emerge from all kinds of unlikely places on our continent and in our country to give South Africa the role models we need to succeed in our democracy. Thank you very much.